Hello, YouTubers, and welcome back to another episode of Buckshot Thursday here on the Ohio Patriot Education Network YouTube channel. I'm, as always, your host, AR the Ohio Patriot. And for today's episode, we're going to discuss 5 World War III / Civil War scenarios that potentially will take us into both of those things. And then go from there and do some other stuff as well. So basically, first and foremost, obviously for those who haven't heard, you got that piece of shit Rashad Tlaib, who should not be in this country, by the way, at this point in history, doing a whole insurrection act yesterday. And then, of course, you got the lion-ass leftist cunts at Newsweek, specifically a woman named Khalida Rahman, who is a total fucking anti-Trump, looks like fucking Indian piece of shit, basically. I'm going to go ahead and do a screenshot here of this dumb bitch. There's a dumbass photo of her dumbass right there. And then, of course, what did she put as this fucking thing? No, the pro-Palestine protest on Capitol Hill was not an insurrection. Yes, it was, you fucking lying leftist cunt. By definition, it was. It was a violent fucking uprising against the government or authority. That is what an insurrection is, you dumb bitch. So you're a fucking lying sack of shit, lady. It, in fact, was a fucking insurrection. The other 57 fucking insurrections the left has done this goddamn year alone, dude. Just like when they started about a year ago almost. 10 months ago, they started the first one back in December of 2022 when they pulled that shit here in Ohio. We had a bunch of MDA cunts try to fuck us. It came to what became issue 1 back in August, which was the 60% threshold for our state constitution to change it, which unfortunately did not pass. People were stupid is what it was. But yeah, and then these obviously assholes want to do the same bullshit. But yeah, you have that piece of shit Rashad Tlaib literally going out there doing a whole, oh, we need to have a ceasefire of Gaza, and like Israel not fucking bombing Gaza, basically what it was. And then basically like spouting off the fucking mouth like she does all the time, dude. And it's fucking ridiculous entirely. There was a reason why there was hundreds of fucking people arrested yesterday because they were literally trying to, you had at least one guy who was trying to jump over a fucking second-story damn wall, dude. You can't tell me that wasn't a fucking insurrection, dude. Because you're obviously trying to become violent. Like, that's the entire problem, dude, with the fucking left. The fact that we're putting up with these people entirely in our country anymore is fucking ridiculous entirely, dude. We should have already had mass deportation in this fucking nation. We should have already had a 20th Amendment to the Constitution at this point that specifically forebodes any foreign national or child of a fucking foreign national or grandchild of a fucking foreign national for that matter, because that's what Rashad Tlaib's ass comes in on. Actually, sorry, she would be the child of foreign nationals. But yeah, I think there's at least 1 or 2 that are grandchildren of foreign nationals at this point. But yeah, it should be anybody whose bloodline is at least like 2 generations where they were so-called refugees into this country, which Rashad Tlaib's family was not, by the way. They were 100% economic migrants, just like all the rest of them are at this point, dude. These fucking people should never be allowed to hold office in the country, period. Same thing with that bitch Ilhan Omar. Same thing with that fucking scumbag. I'm trying to think what the one guy's name is. There's a bunch of them across this country, honestly. There's a few more of them in Congress, and then there's also a bunch at state levels. You got that one douchebag there in Minnesota who's a fucking Somali terrorist. You got at least fucking 2 Somali terrorists in the Ohio State House right now, named Abduli and Mohammed, respectively. It shouldn't be in our state house right now at all. Because number one, we should actually have 1 county, 1 rep here in the state. And then we should also have the ability to actually have, you know, all these dumbass Democrats fight each other would be then. So anyway. But so to start out, I actually thought up 5 different scenarios here in the last couple of days of what I believe potentially could lead to a direct World War III, and then that particularly sparking off into a second American Civil War / revolution. So I'm going to start going over those right now. If I can pull this up real quick. So scenario number 1 is U.S. government does some Bay of Pigs style event, declares World War III, attempts to institute a draft nationwide, right-wing and independent voters, parents, specifically it would be the parents of the people there, nationwide say, fuck no, it's not going to happen. Leftist Hamas sympathizers go fully Antifa and BLM terrorists like they did in 2020. Second American Civil War kicks off, and within 3 years, this is a full-blown Second American Revolution. So that's number 1. And that would make sense, obviously, given the fact that we have, you know, history where you've had the U.S. government basically false flag their own fucking shit is what it was. Just like Bay of Pigs got into Vietnam, etc. there. I could easily see doing something like that at this point, or get us into a World War III, that obviously would then institute drafts that would then take us directly to a second American Civil War. And like I said, eventually it would be a situation where it would, that kind of case, I think, honestly, it would be more of a revolution than a civil war. The thing is, though, is that obviously if it becomes a straight up revolution, there's a big difference between revolution and civil war, obviously, because one can become the other, but one can't become the other is what it is, which obviously in that case would be, you can have something that starts as a civil war that eventually becomes a revolution, but you can't have a revolution morph into a civil war at some point and then back into a revolution after that. It's either a revolution all the way through, or it's a civil war that begins as civil war and then eventually becomes revolution, which I could easily see being the case right now. So that's scenario number one. Scenario number two is the bullshit they're trying to pull right now in Congress, having that fucking scumbag crossroads demon piece of shit Hakeem Jeffries become a uniparty speaker right now. And this basically goes directly to that, which is Hakeem Jeffries is elected uniparty speaker, begins funding aid packages to both Israel and Ukraine, including troops on the ground in the state of Israel, or in the country of Israel. This leads to another Afghanistan airport massacre. You know, that one that killed like 13 soldiers there is what it was when Biden's ass was doing the fucking fail withdrawal. There's what it was a couple years ago. So you'd have something like that, but it'd be even worse scale. Then it'd be probably like dozens and dozens of U.S. soldiers killed then. Mostly 18 to 22-year-olds, give or take. The ones that have little no experience at all in any kind of war at this point, because they're either just now getting in, and it would be like, you know, advanced infantry kind of guys and stuff like that. It would be the people like my friend who I game with and stuff like that. It'd be people like her son, honestly. That would be the one sent over there, you know, 18, 19, 20 years old, etc. And having no experience at all, but having like a little bit of training is what it would be. And then, of course, they would, you know, face off against, you know, seasoned fucking terrorists is what it is there from Gaza, etc. And this would make more sense given the fact that you have Israel right now is trying to make these, is what it is there, that you could basically have people come into and stuff. The problem with that, though, is having that whole thing, the situation of also having the ability to vet who's coming into those is what it is. Because obviously you're going to have a terrorist or two get through is what it is there. You know, you're going to have like some jihadists get through is what it is there. And I could easily see there being like some person with like a suicide vest or whatever the case be that just, you know, detonates the shit right in the middle of everybody is what it is, in like some little town square or whatever it is there. You know, some little market or whatever it is there, you want to call it there. Because obviously those countries have like a lot of open air markets. If you look back to the movie Black Hawk Down specifically, if you remember, there was that one scene where it was Eric Bana's character who was like randomly sitting there having a drink or whatever, and it was like this little open air marketplace there that they were selling a bunch of guns and everything else they're in. That would be kind of what you'd have happen there. It would be something like that, except it'd be more of just like, it wouldn't really be firearms per se. It would be a lot of like, you know, fruits, vegetables, etc. being sold there. And then like some people's like trinkets and shit like that is what would be there. But it would essentially be an open air market and stuff. And you would just have some crazy psycho basically, you know, detonate a fucking, you know, suicide vest in there, whatever the case be. And from there, you would obviously have a bunch of these American soldiers be killed over there. From there, you would then have Biden attempt to push America into World War III. You'd again have pissed off parents nationwide who lost their children in this attack over in Israel. Basically deciding to say fuck it and start murking out random politicians here in America, as would be, including Hakeem Jeffries' ass at that point. And then from there, whether it be Biden or whatever figurehead Democrat was in power at that point, would attempt to invoke martial law nationwide, which would obviously be attempting to suspend the U.S. Constitution and our right to keep and bear arms in this country. Sorry about that. My internet's dipping in and out. It's really low. know. But yeah, as I was saying though, what you would have, you basically have Biden or whoever the figure is at that point attempt to declare martial law, to protect their Democrat buddies, what it is that would be, being murked out at that point by American citizens whose family were killed at that point overseas, so to be. And then you would have, that person try to declare martial law, suspend the Constitution, etc. U.S. military that's been told for the last 10, 15 years now to basically, hey, would you fire on civilians if the thing arose is what it is there? You would have them being told to fire on civilians. This would basically split the U.S. military in half at that point, because you would have those that would be like, no, I'm not going to fire my family, friends, neighbors, etc. And then you'd have the other half that would be like, oh, fuck yeah, and they would just start shooting is what it is then. And I think you'd have a lot of scenarios similar to what happened in the TV series Walking Dead World Beyond, where you had the chick, it was her unit basically firing on a bunch of zombies at that point, the walkers and shit. And then she thought they were actually firing on people at that point, and then started shooting their asses. And I think that's what would happen in the U.S. military. Would be you'd have like, about half of a squadron basically, being willing to fire on civilians, and you have the other half basically just like murking out their own people. It would be them. And from there, this would directly lead into a second American Civil War / American Revolution hybrid, where you would actually have a lot of U.S. military actually, it would be the ones that would be the point. They would take all their shit with them, whether it be their kits, whether it be, various tanks, Humvees, etc. And you would also, in this case, I believe, this particular second scenario here, this is the one where you would actually have a lot of military bases, because you'd have people on military bases and stuff like that, sort of killing each other then. And it would be the ones that would be, on America's side at that point, the actual American patriots in this country. They would just be stealing a shitload of stuff from the armories. It would be, whether it be, full auto M16s, whether it be, grenades, rocket launchers, etc. there, loading their ass up with a bunch of fucking shit in the back of a Humvee, or loading up a, different truck, like I'm trying to remember what kind of truck that was that Abraham and them were driving around The Walking Dead to begin with. It would be something kind of like that, honestly. I think would be full of shit then. But you just have like a bunch of equipment then is what it would be then. Just like throw a bunch of crates of guns in there, throw a bunch of crates of grenades and RPGs, etc. there. So it would be then. So I could easily see stuff like that happening. So that'd be scenario 2. Scenario number 3, and this is something that NEA basically brought up last night during his chat, and I believe this is more like inclined to what we're actually going to see very soon is what it'll be here. So we all know that Biden is a fucking puppet piece of shit. We all know this dude has no real power at all. He's a scumbag, cheater, etc. So Russia sees this, China sees this, because he's their bitch and stuff like that, etc. So basically, what you're having is right now they see that America's weak as fuck with this jackass, stealing power is what it is. I think they're going to try some shit right now, truthfully, and this is the one I think is the closest to what could actually become reality then. So in this third scenario, you would basically have China, Russia, other nations, etc. realize that Biden is a dementia puppet fuck pussy who's not going to do jack shit. And so they just basically start doing power grabs of other nations' land and stuff like that, whether it be China attacking Taiwan, whether it be Russia doing, an even bigger scale invasion of Ukraine and maybe some other countries for that matter too. I know there's stuff already going on with Serbia and Kosovo again, where they're basically doing like various conflict stuff as well. I know there's been things between like India and China here in the last like decade or so, up to including like the last, few months is what it is here. And I remember actually watching a video, I think it was sometime last year, like the very end of last year, like November, December of last year, so about a year ago, where you actually had these dudes that were like, you had the one side where it was like right on their soil, and then you had India side where it was like right on their soil and stuff like that. And there's like this like weird like little middle ground area of like 5 feet or something like that, where it's kind of like international shit or whatever. And as we all know, India has those big ass metal rods that they have the cops carry around and stuff like that. You had a bunch of military having those rods, and they were just like smacking guys on fucking China's side with them because they don't have any actual guns or weaponry is what it is there. Or if they have guns, they don't have the actual bullets for them is what it is then. And so you literally had like, sort of like sword and shield troopers and stuff like that is what it was there. And you had like the one guy with like some kind of like shield thing, and you had the other dude like smacking him with a fucking big ass metal pipe, basically is what it was. And I think that would actually happen again is what would be there. But That being said, I believe there's going to definitely be power grabs there. So it'll be this particular scenario will 100% kick off World War III, which in turn would do a slow start of the Second American Revolution here, during which we find out just how many Chinese and Islamic terrorist sleeper cells are already in the United States currently. This would also basically force, America's hand on stuff and, basically show just how many traitors are in our midst is what it is right now. And what's even more disgusting about this third scenario I'm talking about right now is fucking FBI. They'll go after white guys like me a few years ago and continue to go after white people in this country as, domestic terrorist threats, which were not, by the way. But yet, in the last decade, these fucking retards have legitimately deleted hundreds of thousands, if not millions of files on actual Islamic terrorists within our fucking country right now. People who are actual fucking threats in this nation, who have no business being in this fucking nation to begin with. And yet they're not keeping active fucking documents on these douchebags is what it is. It's like, no, dude. If there's going to be domestic terrorists in America, it's not going to be people who look like my ass. It's going to be people who look like fucking Mohammed, etc. There is what it is, dude. Actually, let me go ahead and grab a picture of one of these assholes. Yeah, if it's going to be anybody that is a fucking terrorist threat in the state right now, or in this country for that matter right now, it is... Grab this picture here. This motherfucker right here, who is one of the 2 Somali terrorists who got their way into the Ohio State House this year. So, yeah. It's not going to be people like me. It's going to be people like Ismail Muhammad, dude. Legitimately. Or the other, tens of thousands of fucking Islamic terrorists down there at the mosque near fucking Columbus, down in Columbus there near Ohio State's campus. So it is there. And the reason I bring that place up is because, shocker, when I was federally swatted 4 years ago, that fucking piece of shit mosque had at least 100 failed and successful terrorist attacks tied directly to it at that point. So it's a hell of a lot more than that now. And that's what I'm saying, dude. And yet the fucking feds are not keeping active fucking documentation on these fucking assholes. Are you kidding me, bro? Jesus fucking Christ. Why the fuck are these people in our country anymore? Seriously. Like, that's what I'm saying. I think, truthfully, the third scenario of this situation is probably the one going to happen, honestly, in real life very soon. Anyway. Moving on to scenario number 4. So this one would basically be, it's similar scenario too, by the way, with Hakeem Jeffries' ass, except in this case, it would be Patrick McHenry, the guy who's the current interim speaker right now. It'd be him actually becoming Speaker of the House. Immediately shows he's a fucking bow tie wearing turncoat and brings back retarded omnibus bill spending to both Israel and Ukraine. Similar to Hakeem Jeffries, there will be boots on the ground happening. Scenario number 2 plays out similarly, except with the exception that it was Patrick McHenry instead of actually Hakeem Jeffries in this case. But yeah, pretty much everything else I said with scenario 2 is sort of like scenario 4 now is what it is. It would just be a different person at that point. And then the 5th and final one, which I'm going to go into hardcore here because it was basically this one I did the most detail on. And this is actually another one that I think it would be either 3 or 5, honestly, in this one. That would be the closest to what I think we're going to have happen in this country. So the 5th and final scenario here is, let me see, trying to do a present screen here. 5th and final scenario, and this one would be continued inflation coupled with ammo manufacturers stopping civilian sales leads to Venezuela-style level of hyperinflation. BRICS nations all opt out of the U.S. petrodollar, which would basically put us into free fall at that point and complete hyperinflation. America begins to free fall into World War III, third world nation overnight. Similar to scenario 1, a draft is implemented, but with a caveat of those freely joining the ranks will have their families be fed on a regular basis with U.S. government food boxes. After this happens, and these individuals are sent overseas, foreign standing armies, everyone that is piece of shit fading age males that Biden's imported over the last decade or so. Whether it be Democrats doing it during Trump's administration or whether it be legitimately Biden the past 3 years or so doing it there, you would have those foreign nationals all be given a training by government officials. Would be then. They would be the ones to start doing door-to-door gun confiscations of U.S. citizens' weaponry. This would lead directly to over 1,000 wake events in the same day, with at least thousands to tens of thousands of casualties on both sides. This would be the final rallying call or rallying cry for every red-blooded American patriot who would begin a campaign of hunting down and murking out corrupt politicians and judges on both parties. At least half the Supreme Court in this scenario would be killed in the first 24 hours of this happening. From there, you would have pretty much every congressman from New York, California, New Jersey, Michigan, Washington State, etc., meet the same fate within the first 40 to 72 hours of this scenario. And then during this time, there would also be dozens to hundreds of state reps and state senators also targeted. In red states, it would be Antifa and BLM terrorists doing it and trying to kill a bunch of right-wing people as would be in power. In blue states, you would actually have a bunch of right-wing / centrist people, a lot of which finally reaching their breaking point after not just being left alone by society is what it is at that point, not having their taxes fucking ripped from them and stuff like that, not being taxed to death, all stuff like that is what it is. And I think in this case, honestly, in many cases, we're already seeing the things happening in that situation, where you'd already see like the Antifa types, the BLM types, etc. there, who are, pieces on the board right now. The difference there is that you would have the people that would be like right-wing and centrist people would be your everyday folks and stuff. It would be a woman who is just, a lawyer or a fucking, public defender or something like that is what it is, who just finally snaps. It would be some dude who is a construction worker or something like that, or whatever the case be, maybe construction worker, maybe, electrician, whatever the case be, who has continuously had his work fucked over because you have foreign nationals being imported to take over his work and stuff like that, undercutting his pay, etc. there. It would be people like that finally just snapping and having it out, dude. And in that situation, you would actually have them basically just decide, hey, what's the fucking point anymore? And that's the thing right now, because we've seen this before, honestly. You've had that thin veil of civility in our country ripped away. It was ripped away with the masking and stuff like that. And of course, you had these fucking douchebags like these obviously want to be tyrants now is what it is, deciding to be dumbasses again. And you had a bunch of retards who basically have chosen to basically just be a bunch of dumb assholes, what it is there, man. There was actually a video that came out here of a chick in a Wells Fargo bank yesterday who basically had some masked tyrant cop try to fuck with her livelihood and stuff like that. And was all like, oh, well, if Wells Fargo is asking you to put a mask on, you need to put a mask on. No, you fucking tyrant cunt. You need to shut your goddamn mouth and get out of the fucking law enforcement. And that's the problem right there. I'm going to go ahead and pop up a screenshot here. It's this little dumbass fucking cunt right here in this. I'm not even sure what state this was in. But yeah, it was this dumb bitch cop with a fucking dumbass mask on her face, basically telling some person who was just trying to go to the bank and withdraw some money, you need to comply to mass tyranny again, bitch. And she was, it was Tennessee. That's what it was. So I'm not sure if this one was the Tennessee State Police. I'm not sure if she was just a regular, like, PD at some point there, or like some small town or whatever the case be. But yeah, she was a dumb cunt entirely, dude. And even the woman pointed out, she's like, yeah, in the state of Tennessee, there is no mask mandate. The thing is, even if there was a mask mandate at a state level, it's not fucking law, people. It never was. It never was in 2020. It can't be now. And there's reasons that it can't be, because it's fucking unconstitutional across the damn board. I'm so fucking sick of it, man. I really am. I think other people are too, for that matter. But yeah, thank God this woman in this situation that was this a lawyer lady, here's what it was. She threatened to take all of her money out of Wells Fargo, and of course they backed down like a bunch of bitches is what it is, dude. Why wouldn't they? And that's the problem with these giant banksters to begin with, dude. Every single one of these people, especially Wells Fargo for that matter, should already be non-existent as a bank right now. The fact that Wells Fargo has been proven time and again to be actively funding cartel bullshit, overseas terrorism with Islamic terrorism, funding actual Islamic terror cells like the fucking Taliban and shit like that, dude. Not exist as a fucking bank anymore, period. And that's the problem right now. We need to have a rise of credit unions in this country, honestly, because fuck giant banks, dude. Every single one of these too big to fail banks that happened in 2008 or so, give or take, during the house market crash, every single one of them should be no longer existent right now. Every single one of these bankers should be in prison right now for the rest of their goddamn lives for the shit they pulled against this country, dude. But no, instead we fucking bail their asses out. And then what'd you have these fucking CEOs and shit like that do? Oh yeah, let's go do fucking vacations and have fucking, trips for our executives and stuff like that. Yet meanwhile, various people's families are losing their homes left and right because these fucking assholes are predatory lending pieces of shit is what it was in general. And then, of course, that led directly what we saw here about a year ago with the whole, Wall Street bets thing where you had people finally get one back at these assholes, these hedge funds, etc. there by having them, calling their bluff on the short selling of GameStop stock. And then it basically led to a bunch of people making money there is what it was, which they're obviously making that movie now based on that. I think it's Paul Dano is the guy that's starring in that, if I'm not mistaken. I forget what it's actually called, but it either already came out or it's going to come out here in the next couple of weeks is what it'll be then. But yeah, it's an interesting movie, and it's basically, the little guy getting one back is what it is. Unfortunately, it's never going to happen again because, fucking scumbag pieces of shit criminals like Elizabeth Warren still exists in the U.S. Senate right now. So, anyway. But, yeah, that being said, those are pretty much the facts I came up with here today. And what I think is going to happen is going to be every single one of them is going to involve World War III of some kind. It just depends on how they're going to take us into it right now. Whether it be a Bay of Pigs kind of event, whether it be something else for that matter. The big thing that is the scariest part of all of it right now is in this situation with especially the Islamic terrorist / Chinese communist sleeper cells and stuff like that in this country. These people could attack our power grid at any given time right now. And the thing that America doesn't admit, obviously the U.S. government will never admit it is what it is, which makes sense because you obviously have, it would be kind of like how they used to do with the serial killer stuff back in the day. And then obviously you have the media now doing it with the mass shooters and stuff like that, where you have like one pop up and then all of a sudden it's like everybody thinks you're going to get 50 minutes frame and stuff like that now. And it was obviously back in the day where you had, the Hillside Strangler or whatever the case be. And then there was like 10 copycats because of that until the media stopped reporting on it. And then of course they went away is what it was. And the thing of that is I believe it's the same thing right now, where if you reported on like an attack on, our grid somewhere is what it is there, you'd have like 20 other people try to attack our grid. Then the next day is what it'd be then. And this is a scary fact, man. There was a thing up here in Cleveland, maybe like a month and a half ago, give or take, where you had some person, it was a water treatment plant, by the way, for like the entire Cleveland metro area that supplied their water supply there. And you had this person easily bust through a fucking gate. There was like nobody around there at all to guard the damn place. And they could have easily poisoned the fucking water there for millions of people's drinking water in the state of Ohio. And nobody would have realized it for like 6 hours, basically, is what they were talking about there, because it wasn't until like 4 to 6 hours later was when they actually finally figured out had the shit going on there. It was crazy, man. It really was. And not to mention the fact that the reason why our government won't talk about it all the time is what it is. Every single day in this country right now, and this is where a lot of these people come into our military and stuff like that are the various, white hat hackers and stuff like that. They are stopping cyber attacks on our grid every single day right now. And it's not even just cyber attacks. There are physical attacks, like a few dozen of them in this country right now. And it's all people that are not fucking American citizens, dude. It's all these foreign nationals that come in here and try to fuck with our shit, dude. They'll try to go some random, substation, whatever the case be, and smash the shit out of it. They'll try to go to some actual like main hub area, whatever the case be, bust in there and bust up, whatever the case be. And yeah, it's totally fucking eco-sabotage at this point. It's a little eco-terrorism is what it actually is. And it's one of these things that, like, it almost needs to be talked about because it's not being talked about, you know? And it's a scary situation either way, man, because again, it's not going to be people look like my ass. They're going to be the ones doing stuff, man. It's going to be all these other motherfuckers out here that shouldn't even be on U.S. soil because they're as fuck, or there's some fucking foreign national piece of shit who legally has no standing here because they are some fucking, you know, transplant from like Somalia or from Iran, Afghanistan, you know, whatever the fuck the case be. Name a fucking stand country basically overseas in the Middle East and shit like that. Or Iraq, something like that is what it'd be then. Maybe Syria, something like that, you know? It's these people whose loyalties are to Islam, basically, that are the ones doing a lot of this shit. Or if they're not, it's the Chi-Coms, dude, legitimately. So, I don't know. I think we're in for very rough times ahead in this country. And honestly, my best suggestion to everybody right now, if you're not armed, you still have a little bit of time. Get fucking armed now while you still can. Obviously, you're going to see ammo prices go up like crazy pretty soon because fucking all these scumbag ass companies that make the shit aren't selling to civilians anymore is what it is. So you're going to see those shits rocket up pretty soon. You need to get some ammo now, dude, while you still can. If nothing else, if you can buy the stuff to basically make your own, do so. You know, while you still can, honestly. If nothing else, buy the shit to make like shotgun rounds and stuff like that, and just buy, you know, a Maverick 88 security or something like that is what it is, man. Because it's better than nothing. Obviously, you're smarter if you buy like a handgun and AR personally, but that's just me. So, yeah, if I had the money right now, I'd probably go out there and buy Taurus G3C, about 1,000 rounds of 9mm at least. Another probably 7 mags for it, give or take, the 17-round ones. And then, I'm trying to think what else I'd buy then. Probably an AR-15 of some kind, PSA or something else for that matter. And then again, another 1,000 rounds ammo with that one. About 15, 20 mags then for that gun. Maybe 30 even for that matter. Have all of them loaded up, have them basically in some stuff. Obviously, that's for a single man, obviously, for that matter. It's like, yeah, if you're going to have multiple people then, it'd be, you know, buying guns for everybody is what it'd be then. Or having everybody buy their own for your family then, if it'd be the case then. So, but yeah, that'd be several $1,000s right now that I have to go throw out the window, and I don't have that kind of money around, unfortunately. But, yeah. I was really hoping Corey would show up today, but unfortunately he did not, so I don't know if he just didn't, he had stuff he had to go do or what it was. Go check Discord here for a second. See what's up. Nope, he's offline. Okay, so I don't know, whatever. Anyway, yeah, I think we're definitely in for bad times ahead, though. And then, of course, you got going back to the Islamic terrorism and stuff overseas, for that matter. You got shit like this right here that Andy Noah was talking about a little bit ago, which is London. A woman tearing down photos of missing civilians kidnapped by Hamas is confronted by a Jewish woman. Vandal curses her out. Like, this is the problem right there, dude, is the fact that you're letting people do that kind of stuff and then just, like, being like, please don't do this. Like, no. Smack the fuck out of that fucking cunt, dude. That's what these people need, man. They need a good old-fashioned beat in the fucking mouth is what it is, dude. Because that's all they understand, unfortunately. That's all these third world trash understand, dude, is a fucking fist in the goddamn face right now. If you're not going to do that, then fucking just walk away, honestly. And let somebody else come in there that will. So, and of course we had this one a couple hours ago from Wall Street Silver, which is it's too late to stop it. Germany and other EU countries have already imported their replacement population. They have reached a level of critical mass in numbers where Germany won't be able to withstand the demographical pressure. Germany thought that they were importing eagerly. Let's see, importing eager workers, but instead they imported the third world problems and lots of people on their state welfare. And see, that's another problem right now, and this is exactly what I'm talking about with America and our current stuff going on here. It's like, why are we having an open border system and let these people in here at all, dude? Nah, fuck that. So, anyway. Huh, that's interesting. This was non-related to what we're talking about right now, but it was a good guy, Chris Jericho, was one of the things that was trending on Twitter there. It was talking about Jericho giving money to somebody's family on their at the dude's funeral. So, yeah, and actually going back to what I was talking about, the third world garbage and stuff like that, and these first world nations and stuff. Then you got this fucking asshole right here, which is Muslim migrants in Germany send warning: we have to make a caliphate in Islamic Europe. They are not kidding. This is their goal, and they are willing to kill to achieve it. European country must wake up ASAP and deport these lunatics from their continent, or Europe is lost entirely. Exactly, dude. And that's the problem right now. They're not going to. They're going to allow these fucking pieces of shit to continue on being in their fucking nations. And then you wonder why you have Islamic takeovers like that, dude. Like, it's really not that hard to figure out, man. Hmm. That was interesting. Apparently, I guess there is now a bill going through the Ohio General Assembly that would shield election workers' home addresses from public record. Like, what the fuck? And as one of our state reps here, Brian Stewart, was talking about and rightfully pointing out here, he was saying, we are cruising towards a situation in which every public employee in Ohio is going to have their info redacted for their so-called safety, and it's undercutting the entire concept of public records. Legislators' info isn't hidden. Why should we be hiding it for anyone who works at a board of elections? We hide cops' info because they arrest criminals all day. Yeah, it's a bunch of shit entirely, dude. Fuck that. Apparently, Cher is promising to leave America if Trump's elected in 2024. Dumb bitch Lily said she was going to do it in 2016. Still hasn't done it. Get the fuck out now, ho. Seriously. Fucking dumbass cunt. Actually, I like this one right here. This is from Ohio Republicans here. Since we're talking about different stuff here with issue 2 as well here. Does issue 2 help Ohio families, workers, and businesses? No, it helps George Soros and his fucking idiot buddies. Said only seeks to help boost the marijuana industry's bottom line at Ohio's children's expense. Struggling marijuana industry hoping for Ohio issue 2 to help boost bottom line. Shocker. And like I said, dude, the main reason I'm against that shit right now, it's not that I'm against legal weed in Ohio. What I'm against is people like George Soros and their globalists having a fucking regime right now and having a monopoly on it is what it is. And that's exactly what we're going to see if issue 2 passes here is what it'll be. Because it's literally the same assholes who passed shit in Colorado like a decade ago who are all Soros proxies, what it is there. On some goddamn Nazi collaborator having the final say in who fucking gets what money from my state is what it is, when it should be going back to me and other people. So, anyway. Let's see. Talking about Josh Hawley exposing. See, Josh Hawley instantly dresses down squirming Biden swamp bureaucrat during live hearing. If you ever wondered how DC works, Josh Hawley just exposed how it works for you. We might actually watch this because it's about a 2-minute clip right now. So let's go ahead and see what Hawley says here about this whole thing. This is all fair use, YouTube, just to work on this.
Mr. Shaw, can I just follow up? I didn't understand your answer to the ranking member or to the chairman. Did you say, so you do attend dinners with industry leaders where they pay to see you speak? Is that a yes or a no? I didn't hear.
Wow, that's super criminal.
I attend many events, some of which I'm invited to speak at.
And they don't pay.
And many don't pay, and some are like paid conferences and others. But one of the things.
Wait. That was a yes and a no. So let's just go back. Do you attend events where people pay to see you speak?
I have attended.
Yes, the answer is yes, bro.
People pay to attend the event.
Do you think that's a good idea?
I think it's important for us to meet potential applicants, American innovators and entrepreneurs who want to scale up their technology.
Applicants for loan programs?
Applicants for DOE funding.
Wait a minute.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Wait a minute. You think it's a good idea to go to events where people are trying to get federal money and they're paying to see you?
They're not paying to see me.
I thought you
well, shit, they're not, buddy.
Events where people paid.
Not to see me. I mean, not important.
You're the wow. You learn new things every day. What's your title? You're the director of what?
Of the Loan Programs Office.
You're the director of the loan programs for the federal government, Department of Energy. People who want to get loans from the government are paying to see you, and you think that that's fine?
Just so we're clear, that right there is what we call bribery, which is a fucking felony in all 50 states in this country. Why the fuck is this Singh piece of shit not in fucking federal prison right now for this shit, dude? God damn it, people. I'm so fucking sick of this shit. Oh my God.
That's not
There, I gotta redo this. So fucking over it, man. So fucking over this shit. At least there's some good in this world, though. Going to other stuff here. So you got this dumb cunt. Citibank has fired 25-year-old banker Nazima Hazanova for publicly supporting Adolf Hitler's decision to mass murder millions of Jews. While reacting to the Gaza hospital bombing on Instagram, she smiled as her support for murdering of Jewish people. What a sick bitch. God, these people are so fucking disgusting. Like, that's the thing, dude. Like, you want to talk about demonic, dude? Like, this bitch's fucking face is the face of evil right there, man. Like, just that fucking sick-ass Joker-style smirk is what it is. Fuck these fucking people, man. Seriously. Fucking disgusting, man. Huh. So I'm going to go ahead and read this. Let's see. So you got some asshole bitching and moaning about so-called far-right anti-Semitism in the state of Ohio. Which, again, is nothing more than much a leftist fucking dipshittery is what it is here, man. So, I'm going to go back to what Brian was saying here. So you got John Fetterman saying, truly disgusting, truly disturbing that members of Congress rushed to blame Israel for the hospital tragedy in Gaza, who would take the word of a group that just massacred innocent Israeli citizens over our key ally. And then my state rep, Brian, or not my state rep, but a state rep here in Ohio, Brian Stewart was saying, seeing as how I've been enormously critical of the man previously, meaning Fetterman, so going to follow my policy of giving credit where credit's due, entirely correct, and depressingly not easy to say in some quarters of his party. And then Brian continued on and say, held off saying this for 2 weeks because didn't want to make life difficult for people I'm acknowledging. Needs to be said, one of the best ways for Republicans to combat the vile anti-Semitism / pro-Hamas sentiment on the fringe left is to acknowledge and compliment our many Democrat colleagues who have had the guts to do and say the right things when it comes to Israel. Oh, God, dude. I'm so fucking sick and tired of these fucking Israeli dick suckers, dude. Like, just across the board, I'm so fucking sick and tired of the whole thing, honestly, dude. It's like, bro, you are elected under the U.S. Constitution, motherfucker, and the state of Ohio's Constitution. You should be backing America first, America only, as a U.S. citizen, sir. Not fucking sucking off Israel's cock, not fucking jerking off Hamas on the other side of the fucking aisle, whatever the case be there. Like, either one. I don't care if Israel's a fucking ally or not, dude. You really think they're going to come to our fucking defense if something ever happens here? Fuck no. And that's the entire point, dude. Every single one of these so-called NATO nations, they don't give a fuck about America, dude. Why would they? When America's literally fucking foot the bill for every goddamn weapons bullshit for the last fucking 50 goddamn years or more. Like, that's what should piss off every American right now, honestly, dude. Is the fact that we have been actively, up until Trump's administration, funding NATO, like 95% of it, every fucking year for decades. None of these other countries ever paid a fucking dime into it. Britain, Israel, fucking England, other parts of Europe, etc. None of them ever paid a fucking dime into it, man. Or if they did, it was very, very little money. Maybe $100,000 here or so. Meanwhile, you had America paying fucking millions and millions of dollars into it, if not billions of dollars into it eventually, to where now our fucking national debt's hyperinflated into trillions now. And again, it's fucking bullshit, dude, entirely. But anyway, going back to what Brian was saying here, though, he said, vote to support Israel in the Ohio State House was 87-1. Democrats co-sponsored it. Said, I went to a vigil with great remarks from Sherrod Brown, Joyce Betty, Andrew Ginther, and other Democrat leaders. Columbus City Council President Hardin's statement on Israel was great. He has nothing to apologize for. Talking about idiot Biden. Remarks have been mostly good. Eric Adams in New York City had great comments. He said, we cannot let Hamas or evil terrorists become just another position assigned a red versus blue color. So I remember after 9/11 when we understood this, and I believe we can do it again. Best way to combat long live the infidel from the river to the sea, and statements, images glorifying, defending Hamas is to make clear that these sentiments are not going to be acceptable plank of either platform for the two major parties in America. Well, that's the problem right there, Brian, is the fact that we have two major parties in America when we should have fucking hundreds, bro. But because of people like you, sir, because of people like the fucking Republican Party of Ohio right now, who backed that fucking asscock John Kasich back in 2013 to allow bullshit-ass fucking legislation to be pushed through that allowed for a two-party primary system in the state of Ohio to make us a so-called red state, which we're fucking not, by the way. We're not a fucking blue state either, for that matter. We're someplace in the middle. And in reality, we're really a fucking third-party state is what it really is. That's why we're a bellwether state, for that matter. So, yeah, it's fucking ridiculous, dude. Oh, actually, the guy that was talking about a Fed recruiting sign there or whatever. Brian actually responded back to that guy. Said, don't represent Ross County. Don't know what you're talking about there, nor have I seen any signage in my district. Obviously, these things exist. These people are in the wrong. Said, I also think there are pretty clear differences in terms of what's most disturbing between some anonymous random person doing cowardly graffiti on an underpass versus a university professor literally sharing Hamas propaganda. Yeah, I was talking about, Oh, shit. This was apparently one of these people at Ohio State University. Jesus fucking Christ. Students for Justice in Palestine at Ohio State University mobilized a day of resistance on October 12th, so that was a week ago, give or take. And then, yeah, you had Columbus Emergency Rally, Palestine Resists Occupation, Stand with Gaza. Fuck these fucking people, dude. And you wonder how Mohammed and Abduli got in our fucking state house right now, dude. It's because you have Islamic terrorists like this at Ohio State University, dude. Fucking hell, man. And again, I repeat myself, white men like me are not the fucking terrorist threat in this country. It's the fucking goddamn Islamic terrorists who support Palestine and fucking Gaza who are. Kick them the fuck out of this country. I'll have to go watch this one later. It's two chicks basically going at it for not. I guess the one didn't tip the other or something, supposedly. So. Oh, that's fucked up. Delivery driver refuses to give items back without a tip. So you literally had this bitch whose entire fucking job it was to go deliver groceries, basically, refusing to actually do her job delivering groceries to some woman because she wasn't getting a fucking tip, dude. That's a damn good question, honestly. I wouldn't be surprised if it was hundreds here, honestly, if that mattered, dude. I mean, shit. You know, let's go look at actually, let me think about that for right now. So as much as I hate the ACLU because it is obviously a leftist fucking run site and stuff like that, dude, there is a couple ones they put on there. Or not the ACLU. The fuck. Yeah. ACLU is Soros funded. It was the SPLC is what I'm talking about. Yeah, Southern Poverty Law Center. Southern Poverty Law Center's whole hate map there is what it is. As much as they are a bunch of scumbag leftists and stuff like that leftists created, they're obviously against the right is what it is there. They do a pretty good job when it comes to the hate map thing of various things in the state of Ohio when it comes to some left wing here. So you got, let me see here now. Obviously, there's a lot of Proud Boys chapters they have labeled as hate and stuff like that, which they're not. A bunch of various militias and stuff like that. Let's see. Yeah, of course. What is the SPLC list on this list right now then? Fucking Moms for Liberty, Summit County chapter. Like, Jesus fucking Christ, dude. No, a bunch of random right-wing mothers or Proud Boys, whatever the case be, or not that thing at all, dude. Actually, that's a Patriot Shit Outfitters is actually a guy who sells merchandise here in Bethel, Ohio. That was actually one of the guys that was down, I'm trying to remember, during the 2020 riots when you had Antifa and BLM trying to show up to Bethel, Ohio there. I did a thing about this on this channel about 3 years ago now, I think is what it was. So they were down there, and you basically had like 30 Antifa show up, give or take. You had a circle of cops around their giant little circle of, leftist jerk-offery is what it is there. And then this guy that runs Patriot Shit Outfitters, which is nothing more than like a 2A patch site is what it is there, who sells like merchandise, like hats and patches and stuff. He was basically there calling out Antifa for being the, leftist, fuck knuckles that they were and stuff like that. And then, of course, a bunch of people there too as well. So, yeah, I was trying to see if I could just do Ohio here entirely or not. It's like a thing. Okay, let's see. I was trying to see if there's actually anything on here that's not fucking right wing anymore. Because they used to do some leftist ones on here before that were like various what you call it, like is I'm trying to remember what they call them now. My mind is blanking now that I'm thinking about it. Yeah, because all the ones on here now are basically just militias and stuff now. A couple years ago, though, they had a couple on here that were like right here. This is pretty disgusting, actually. So they're trying to claim that the Constitution Party of Ohio, which is nothing more than people that support the Constitution and stuff like that, are anti-government movement. And like I said, then you got like Proud Boys chapters, Mom Liberty chapters, etc. there. Where in reality, they used to have ones that were the I'm trying to think of those fucking people are called now. They're the black supremacists that follow the King James Bible, basically. And they were used to be on there a couple times. What it was there up in like the Cleveland and Toledo areas and stuff like that. But of course, that's since changed now is what it is. So, and that's exactly why the SPLC needs to get their asses into the ground right now. Because by the way, they have leftist terrorists that work for them. Like the one guy that was caught at the fucking Stop Cop City thing not long ago is what it is. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised in the least if there was like dozens to hundreds of fucking people that were, or sorry, dozens to hundreds of chapters here in Ohio that are fucking a bunch of Islamic terrorist cells and shit like that. Like I said, if you just look at the Somali terrorists that were brought under Kasic's ass back under Obama's administration, and that was about a decade ago, give or take, you could basically say, you know, every 10 to 20 of those people was a fucking, you know, Islamic terror cell now. And there's several thousand of them there. So, anyway. Trying to see if there's anything else I wanted to talk about here. Oh, this is one of the guys talking about possibility of McHenry becoming speaker. So if they put him in, we immediately do a motion to vacate on grounds that he was put in power unconstitutionally. He wasn't elected speaker. He won't be speaker. Either Jim Jordan keeps running or he steps aside and a new speaker is elected, not appointed. Exactly. That's how it needs to be anyway, dude. And like I said before, the thing about the Speaker of the House shit entirely is you could easily have our country be better off right now if we, the people, actually had the say of who wanted to be speaker. And it would be the majority party only that could nominate people at that point. You wouldn't have these fucking minority party dipshits like fucking Hakeem Jeffries even in the running for that matter. So, anyway. Let's see. What else we got here? People were talking about Biden's masks slipping off legitimately to where it shows somebody else underneath him then. Let's see. Was there an insurrection at the Capitol complex yesterday? They disrupted an official proceeding. They paraded illegally through the Cannon building, refused to follow police orders. Every one of these people should be, in total, DC gulag, pre-trial, solitary confinement, and then sentenced 22 years after, but this will never happen. Yep, exactly. There's a video going around about Disney 23, and it's a bunch of trans motherfuckers in dresses standing at urinals, ready to take a whiz. Jesus fucking Christ. All right, what is this retarded bullshit here? Let's see. Using BLM method of making radical activism seem chic for children and brainwashing at the same time. Militant Palestinian nationalism is now playing out in American high schools. Video recorded at Balboa High School in San Francisco of some bitch trying to wear a hijab. There's what it is, and have kids go to the thing. I'm not going to... I guess I'll do a little quick screen share there so everybody can see. This is something you know put out a couple hours ago. Yeah, you got this dumb fucking cunt doing a whole thing, walking through the thing, and having all these fucking dumbass kids follow her dumbass down the road is what it is. How the fuck is this bitch even in any position of power ever again, dude? Like, this is exactly what I've been talking about for the past 3 to 4 years now. Why the fuck are we letting Islamic terrorists in our country? Number one. Number two, why are we letting them in our fucking school system? Period. Ever. And number three, why do we not have automatic qualifications on every seat of fucking power in any kind of educational system right now? So, anyway, we've gone for almost an hour now. I think I'm going to call it a day here in a minute. I'm truly very irritated right now. But definitely need to. See, lives a TikTok. Elementary school teacher says that students finally asking him who he's sexually attracted to is, quote, one of the yearly milestones I look forward to. Nobody's asking you whose dick you're sucking there, dude. I don't care who the fuck you want to claim they are. You sick son of a bitch. Fuck these fucking people, dude. Seriously. Hang on, I'm going to do something on my Facebook page real quick. Mass deportation. But yeah, that's the problem though, when you indoctrinate kids for decades, and then you wonder why we have Islamic terrorists everywhere is what it is. It's really not that hard to figure out, man. Really not that hard to figure it out at all. So anyway. But yeah, that being said, we'll be back tomorrow for Freedom Friday. Hopefully Corey will be with me at that time. It is like 6 o'clock right now, and it looks like it's like almost going to be dark outside. I don't know if this is the fall weather happening right now, or if this is just like some dank ass rain coming down and making it real dark outside. I just looked outside too on this side, and our one tree over there is really showing its fall right now because it's got the orange colors coming out now. I would love to make a trip to Maine again one of these days during this time period of history. Or I should say time period in the cycle of fall time and stuff like that, to do all the changing colors of the trees and shit. So, because the only time I've ever been up there, we were in, it was around winter time, my birthday actually specifically, about a week or so after that, back in 2014, and holy shit, it was fucking freezing back then. So, anyway, yeah, never stand near the ocean in fucking freezing cold temperatures, people, because you will have the fucking sea air get like some water stuck into it basically, and it like sort of swoops at you and smacks you in the face. And even with the big ass beard like mine, it still got me like right in the cheeks and stuff where I don't have any hair there. And oh my god, that hurt so bad, dude. We were there for like 5 to 10 minutes, and oh buddy, now I'm going back to the car. This sucks. It was the first time I got to see an ocean though, at the age of I'm trying to think how old I was now. 29, I want to say. So anyway, But yeah, let's just say, going back to the scenario thing before we leave today, I think there's going to be a lot of people who are going to have to make life decisions very soon in their lives and choose if they want to have their children be swept up into a world war in this country, or that this country is going to be part of, or if they're going to choose to simply say, no, fuck that. I would rather have my kids fight government tyranny and fight anybody else that's trying to make them leave this country's soil to go fight their goddamn bankster war. And I believe you're going to have a lot of people choose wisely, and you're going to have it kick off a second civil war and a second American Revolution eventually that will last anywhere from a couple years to a decade. So, anyway, the real question becomes at that point is how quickly into this will we find out that the sleeper cells exist, and how many of them will exist is what it is then. So, that being said, always be carrying. Make sure you have one of the champions. You never know if something's going to pop off. You never know if there's going to be a day of jihad at some point here. Maybe a week after they said it was going to be. You never know, man. Could be tomorrow. Could be the next day. Could be a month or two from now, honestly. Hell, could be during Thanksgiving. Could be during Christmas this year. For all the fuck we know. But anyway, always be vigilant. Always be ready. Have your head on a swivel. Situational awareness. And if you have to become the person who takes down a terrorist, do so. If you have to be the person that stops a massacre, be that person. Because if you're not, you never know how many people are going to be killed in that. Anyway, like I said, we'll be back tomorrow for Freedom Friday. I will be discussing some other stuff then. We might actually do what we're going to do today originally, which is going to do some Barrack Arms articles and stuff like that, and just discuss some 2A news and things like that then for that episode. But other than that, that's where we'll be at for the day. Hope y'all enjoyed this episode, and I will see y'all tomorrow for Freedom Friday, and then make sure to come back around Saturday night at roughly, I'm not exactly sure what time it'll be. It'll either be right around 10 o'clock, or it'll be like 10:30, 11 o'clock, someplace in there usually. It depends on when exactly NEA does his little geek chat and they finish up there is what it'll be, because it'll be about, give or take, about 15 minutes to a half hour. So after that, then it would have been around 10:30 last week, but unfortunately I was asleep during that time, and then I didn't wake up till like 11 o'clock or so, and that's when we had myself, Corey, and Leo on there at about 11:30 or so, give or take. So if nothing else, if something does happen like that again, just know it'll be before midnight on Saturday night. So anyway, but yeah, we'll be doing Stand Your Ground Saturday again. Like I said, somewhere between 10 and midnight, somewhere in there for about an hour or so, give or take. And then Freedom Friday tomorrow around 5 o'clock again, where we discuss some various 2A news and stuff like that of the day, and potentially how close we are to World War III is what it is then, and Civil War kicking off then. So anyway, till later. Hope you guys enjoy this episode and have a good one. You know, spend time with your family if you can. Make sure to be prepped up if you can, and always be ready and able, because you never know what's going to happen. You never know when things are going to pop off. And it's really simple as that. Later, y'all.